And it's another video. There's graphic, cut open ice worm corpses. Much more graphic and detailed Leviathan kill animations. Like the Shadow Leviathan, where it locks you in place and dissolves you while you're still conscious. Compared to Subnautica's, where the kill animations were unironically all just grab, bite, fade to black. As well as the Leviathans themselves now actually having proper death screams. And an entire damn series of voice logs describing how Marge lived inside the stomach of a reaper, burning its fat for fire and eating chunks of its flesh each day. That's a good point, Terabyte. That's a damn good point. All Subnautica did was say the weird crabs on the Aurora ate some pieces of flesh and hinted that some unimportant characters probably got killed by some of the creatures. Or they were dead and the crabs were scavenging on the corpses. Not to say that they were the cause of death. These people making these claims really need to do some more research into the games they talk about and argue in favor of. Uh-oh. Wark1 replies to Ayashi. What's hilarious is the number of people that literally believe I don't have an accent, you do. Every English speaker speaks in an accent unique to their location. Exactly. So if I'm in North America and I speak with a North American accent, I want to hear a North American accent. It doesn't even matter what kind of accent it is. If the accent is understandable, then it's understandable. The accent doesn't matter. But when the accent makes it unable, like, would you want a heavy Irish or a heavy... If you put a character in your game that speaks with a heavy Irish or Scottish accent, that's fine. That's the character. That's how they talk. Don't have a PDA voice that talks in a uneducated slurring drawl. Like, I don't want a PDA voice that talks like Ebonics. Open up the PDA. Hey, dog, you's gonna need to scan that shit right there, I believe. I'm like, what? Huh? Instead, you're like, hey, let's have the PDA voice talk to you like a Indian call center. I'm just going to read the rest of this guy's post. Yep. Nothing of interest or value. Cougarific. Outside of growing up in and living in the largest, most culturally and linguistically diverse city in the world, and having traveled extensively throughout every continent on the planet, you're right. I've never been exposed to any languages other than my own. You fucking get them, Cougar. Terabyte. People in countries like America are where the large majority of the game's player base comes from. Therefore, it would be very smart to make sure that large majority can understand the game properly. But they don't care about smart design and convenience for the large majority of players. They just want the game to be as woke and inclusive as possible. Unknown Worlds, you're not trying to sell a game for profit. This is the ego. This is all about ego. The whole reason we have Below Zero is because some bitches on Twitter were like, why can't we play as a female character? Wee, 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 wee. Unknown Worlds, y'all are bad people. So you're like, oh, wow, we can give some angry bitches what they want, and we're great people. Well, you made that small minority happy. You pissed off the majority of your fan base. Let's see where this goes. And before you say it, no, I'm not saying foreign characters in games with mostly Western player bases shouldn't exist. That would just be idiotic. It's just that they made the damn PDA, the robot voice that teaches you stuff, and is pretty much your inventory, but with a voice inclusive at the cost of many not even understanding it. So you're literally saying Kathy Newman. Kathy Newman. You guys remember Kathy Newman? With the Jordan Peterson interview? I had bacon and eggs for breakfast. So you're saying kill all vegans, right? That whole logical fallacy where no matter what a person says, the other person can come up and say, so what you're saying is, and then say something completely different to misrepresent your point. Wark 1 is being Kathy Newman. So you're literally saying that the PDA voice is incomprehensible to the majority of the player base, for which you include yourself. How is it you're able to play this game? Well, that's a disingenuous question. Anyone can play the game without ever opening up their PDA the first time. So what's your point? How the PDA is incomprehensible, and yet we can still play the game. Doesn't mean we can enjoy the game, but you're not arguing in Below Zero's favor, chump. Ooh, Zeph, Nolly, how many more? Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. I'm making all the videos. You don't want to live in a diverse, you don't need to live in a diverse city to understand X. We have another case of, it doesn't affect me, so it doesn't matter. I'm not even going to say that dude's post out loud. Y'all can read that. Y'all can read that if y'all want. Ayashi. In case I haven't been clear enough, I'm not a native English speaker and have never lived in an English-speaking country. You're assuming otherwise by default is further proof to what I said in that post. Oh my goodness. If Ayashi is a female, if they sound like somebody that I know. A-Y-A-S-H-I. Ayashi. But that's an I. And they sound exactly like this. I need to message this person and send them a friend request. I think this is a friend of mine. They sound, their points sounds like somebody that I know. That aside, it's obviously unfair to equal logic linguistic features of native speakers to the way of some non-native ones who didn't spare enough time or effort to learn the language properly mispronounce it. And yes, it is indeed possible to speak without an accent. That's what formal language is for, which would be a much more logical choice for a PDA AI to choose. Detached, aloof, professional. If you are so offended by it resembling native speakers, making it have robotic reverberations or gender ambiguous vibe would work as well. Wark 1. Oh my God. Read this. If you don't like the PDA voice, you're prejudiced. What is clearly being driven by prejudice is being wrapped in a cloak of intelligibility. No, this just comes across as pure prejudice, with code words like immersion covering the fact that their objections are primarily related to the inability to deal with someone different than themselves. If you have a problem understanding the PDA voice, you're straight fucking racist. And if you say it's because you can't understand it, you're lying. Wark 1, dude. People like you, man, when I was in high school, we put kids like you in fucking lockers. Kids like you and Auldwolf, we picked on y'all. Not because you were weak or unpopular, but because you're a trash person. I can't speak for how people act in all schools across the world, but in my high school, in my neighborhood, we didn't pick on insecure people. The people that got picked on were the shitheads. The bullies in my school were popular. Man. Woo. And you know what? When you ridicule and you pick on idiots and fools, it discourages them. But when you let them act the way they do and you encourage them, it emboldens them.